Hello and welcome to Wide Real News. We are bringing you breaking developments from around the globe. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and stay informed with Wide Real News for accurate and timely reporting. Today, we turn our focus to Syria, where a seismic shift has occurred, leaving the region and the world reeling. Over the weekend, a dramatic series of events unfolded, culminating in Syrian President Bashar al-Assad fleeing the country amidst intensifying violence and a rebel offensive that has gripped the capital, Damascus. Let's delve into what happened and explore the implications of this historic moment. A nation in crisis. Syria, long plagued by conflict and civil war, entered a new chapter of turmoil over the weekend. On Saturday night, reports began to surface of fierce clashes in the heart of Damascus. Rebel forces, led by the militant faction Humanitarian HTS, claimed responsibility for what they described as a decisive push into the capital. Within hours, images of burning buildings, chaotic streets, and advancing rebel troops dominated news channels and social media. Residents of Damascus described the scene as apocalyptic. One eyewitness, speaking anonymously, said, "We woke up to the sound of explosions and gunfire. It was clear that this was not just another skirmish. It was the end of something." By midnight, rebel leaders announced they had seized key government buildings, including the Ministry of Defense and the Presidential Palace. Assad flees the country. As the battle raged, rumors swirled about President Bashar al-Assad's whereabouts. By early Sunday morning, multiple sources confirmed that Assad and his family had boarded a private aircraft bound for Moscow, Russia. While the exact details remain murky, Russian media later reported that Assad had arrived in Moscow and was seeking asylum. The plane's departure was tracked by independent observers, though conflicting reports about its flight path created confusion. A Chemwings Airlines Airbus A320 was identified leaving Damascus International Airport in the early hours of Sunday, initially headed toward Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates before continuing to Russia. Syrian state media, typically a mouthpiece for the Assad regime, went silent, offering no updates or explanations. The rebel advance. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a powerful militant group that emerged from the remnants of al-Nusra Front, has been at the forefront of the offensive. HTS spokespersons declared victory in Damascus, stating, "This marks the fall of a tyrant and the beginning of a new chapter for Syria." Analysts suggest that HTS's success was due in part to internal fractures within the Syrian military. Reports indicate that several high-ranking officers defected in recent weeks, weakening the regime's ability to respond effectively. Furthermore, logistical challenges and low morale among government forces contributed to the rapid collapse. In addition to HTS, a coalition of smaller rebel groups and local militias supported the offensive. This unified front proved overwhelming for the regime, which had relied heavily on external support from Russia and Iran in past conflicts. Russia's role and reaction. For nearly a decade, Russia has been a key ally of Assad's regime, providing military and political support that allowed the Syrian government to reclaim large swathes of territory. The Mymimim airbase and Tartus naval facility, two critical Russian installations in Syria, symbolize Moscow's deep investment in the country. However, the fall of Damascus has left Russia in a precarious position. The Kremlin has yet to issue a definitive statement on Assad's asylum request, though officials have acknowledged monitoring the situation closely. Russian state media outlets have subtly shifted their tone, criticizing the Syrian military's failures and hinting at the need for new political arrangements in Syria. According to insiders, Moscow is scrambling to secure guarantees from rebel leaders that its military assets in Syria will remain intact. Analysts believe Russia's primary concern is retaining its strategic foothold in the eastern Mediterranean, even if it means negotiating with former adversaries. A humanitarian crisis deepens. The dramatic fall of Damascus has exacerbated Syria's already dire humanitarian crisis. The United Nations estimates that over 6.8 million Syrians remain internally displaced, with another 5.5 million living as refugees in neighboring countries. The recent violence has triggered new waves of displacement, with thousands fleeing the capital for safer regions. Aid organizations are struggling to meet the needs of displaced populations, particularly as access to conflict zones remains limited. In a statement on Sunday, the International Red Cross urged all parties to ensure humanitarian corridors for civilians. The people of Syria have suffered enough. Immediate action is needed to prevent further loss of life, said Red Cross spokesperson Leila Mansour. Global reactions. The international community has responded with a mix of shock and urgency. The United States and European Union issued statements calling for a peaceful transition of power and renewed efforts toward a diplomatic resolution. Turkey, which has long hosted millions of Syrian refugees, expressed concern about the potential for increased instability along its southern border. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stated, "While we welcome the end of an oppressive regime, we urge all parties to prioritize the welfare of the Syrian people." Meanwhile, Iran, another key supporter of Assad, has remained notably silent. Its reluctance to comment suggests uncertainty about how to proceed in the absence of its longtime ally in Damascus. The road ahead. Syria now faces an uncertain future. While the fall of Assad marks a turning point, it does not guarantee peace or stability. The country remains deeply divided along sectarian and political lines, with multiple factions vying for control. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham's dominance raises concerns about the potential for further extremism. Western powers have previously labeled HTS a terrorist organization, and their ascendancy may complicate international efforts to stabilize the region. Reconstruction will be another monumental challenge. Years of war have devastated Syria's infrastructure, economy, and social fabric. Experts estimate that rebuilding the nation will require hundreds of billions of dollars and a sustained commitment from the international community. Voices of hope. Amid the chaos, there are glimmers of hope. Activists and civil society leaders are calling for an inclusive political process that represents all Syrians. This is an opportunity to build a new Syria, one that values freedom, justice, and dignity, said Lina Al-Khatib, a prominent human rights advocate. For many Syrians, however, the immediate priority is survival. As one Damascus resident put it, "We just want to live without fear. That's all we've ever wanted." Conclusion. The events of December 2024 will undoubtedly be remembered as a pivotal moment in Syrian history. The fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime marks the end of an era, but it also ushers in a period of profound uncertainty. As the world watches, Syria stands at a crossroads, its future shaped by the resilience of its people and the decisions of its leaders. Wide Real News will continue to monitor the story closely, bringing you updates as they unfold. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed on this and other breaking news. Thank you for tuning.